Welcome to round 3 of season 2 of the Ultimate F1 and Nascar Hybrid League. This is JACKOCAR. We're here in Australia at the Albert Park circuit for round 3. My name is Austin Smith, and alongside me is the one, the only, the admin of the league, Jacko. Jacko, how are you doing tonight?
Not too bad, Mr. Austin. Good to have you here, by the way. This is your first official commentary for us, isn't it? So,
Yeah, it is.
how are you feeling? I should be asking.
Yeah, that's a good question. I'm excited for this. It certainly is a different format than we are used to in most F1 2020 or generally F1 leagues. And this should make for some interesting racing. We've already had 2 rounds. And we've seen Jamie and Kyle basically take the cake there, with Jamie in Bahrain in round 1 and then Kyle in Azerbaijan. Now we're heading to a totally different continent in Australia. Albert Park, not the first street circuit that we're on, although does it really count as a street circuit at this point? Or is it really a permanent circuit?
For me, it is a street circuit, but I've never really counted it as a street circuit. It's one of those in-between ones. It's a bit like Montreal, isn't it?
Yeah.
Really.
Yeah, those are not the ones you would always think of as being street circuits. The big 4 that everyone always thinks of, at this point, at least in 2020, before it was 3, it was Monaco, Singapore, Azerbaijan. Now, obviously, Vietnam was added to the mix. But yeah, Canada and Australia are always the ones that people do forget about every now and then. That these are street circuits as well. We are getting ready here with 20 drivers. We are waiting for Khalifa to be the first one out in his number 34 car, and he is. Yep, I think there is something going on in his pit lane. His car just switched gear from neutral to first. I think he's coming out any second now. And there he is indeed.
He is allowed 15 seconds either side of that 17-minute marker. Of course, this is the third official race that we've run, what am I trying to say, the one-lap shootout qualifying system now.
Yeah, so that's definitely something that I think might be interesting for the viewers to know, maybe someone who tunes in for the first time. So not every driver is allowed to go out willy-nilly whenever they want to, as in normal F1 leagues. We have a one-shot qualifying system, and every driver has a time slot that they were allocated before the race or before the qualifying. And Khalifa is the first one out, and it's in 45-second intervals, basically. So Khalifa is going to be the first one here. Meanwhile, Esti in where is he? Oh, in P6 right now. He should be out next. He's really taking his time there. Then we have Jess, who's filling in for Thomas, and he is supposed to go. She is supposed to go out at 15:30. Again, 15 seconds before or after, but she's supposed
This is Jess's first start since China as well. It's her 15th appearance in the league. Of course, demoted down to a reserve driver for this season. Missed out in the draft, but happy to be back, as you may have seen from her tweets earlier today.
I did, and totally understandable, as we now have Khalifa going for the first flying lap, as we have someone coming out of the pit lane right there. I think that is Jess. She was waiting for Khalifa to make his way past, so really good awareness, I would say, there from Jess. Khalifa now heading here through turn 3 and 4, really trying to get the power down early, flat out here through turn 5. That is important. First sector obviously purple, first one to set a sector time here, as he now heads towards turn 9.
Of course, Khalifa coming into this with a time trial setup on and no practice. A lot of the drivers in the group chat, they feared Khalifa when it was announced just about 20 minutes ago that he'd be racing, but according to him, he won't be very competitive today.
I mean, I've seen him race before, honestly, and if there's ever a situation where he is not competitive, it's got to be probably against F1 eSports drivers. He's just below that level. But certainly in league racing, I mean, he is mighty quick as he comes through the final corner.
Raw talent as well, hasn't he? He should be ready to go wherever it is. Call up. He'll go provisional pole, obviously. 1 minute 20.4 for Khalifa.
That's already a really good lap time. Hasty Mats will be next, and he has invalidated his lap already. That is a red lap right there for Hasty Mats, so that means he will start from the back of the grid. We can actually move on straight away to Jess, who is just now coming through turn 2 here. A little bit squirmy there on the exit of turn 2. Got the DRS open now, heading into turn 3. Gotta say, very sleek livery as well here from Jess. Nice. Orange with a bit of yellow. Colors do work together, but she makes it through the first sector. Let's see the sector split. 27.8 shows purple. I'm not sure if it is. I wish we could see the sector times here for Khalifa.
You do have Taz available, by the way, Austin.
I do. Did you send me the link
in
to
your
it?
Twitter DMs?
Oh.
Whilst you search for that, a quick note on Esty. This is his third start tonight in JACKOCAR for the Estonian driver. Jess comes into the fast chicane at sector 2 here. Very cautious, doesn't want to invalidate. DRS open. Head on down to the heavy braking zone. Rocking a 95 car once again this season.
Yeah, and that does make my life a lot easier. And yeah, this was not actually a purple time for Jess. She was 1.4 seconds down in the first sector. Lost a bit more in the second sector, another 1.1 seconds. So this will be around 1 minute 23 I would say 23.5 maybe is where it could end up. Oh, 25.8. She must have made a huge mistake in the final sector. Lost around 3 seconds to Khalifa there. 125.8. Next up is Okiki. Yes.
He's yet to finish a race this season, is OKK.
Yeah, he is certainly going to finish this lap right here. Question is, how good is it going to be? And it is a 121.4. It's 1 second, pretty much, I mean, almost spot on 1 second down on Khalifa. But I mean, 1 second down on Khalifa isn't exactly the worst you can do.
It's not a bad place to be, is it?
Yeah. We've had that in the preseason race where, you know, being 1 second behind whoever alien, I don't even remember who it was, but whoever the alien was, being 1 second down wasn't actually that bad.
No. Here's Pete, by the way, last season's champion. It's gone purple in sector 2 by the looks of that.
Yeah, at least, yeah, it is purple in sector 2, but he did lose a tiny bit of time. I think he's pretty close to Khalifa here. This is going to get really close, and oh my god, yep, Jess getting in the way there of Pete, and that is going to ruin his lap basically. Can he still at least
be a penalty?
Yeah, can he at least get P2 out of this one ahead of Okiki, or did he lose so much time? He only lost about a 10th and a half. How in the world did he do that?
That should have been pole.
That should have been pole by a long way. That is a remarkable time either way. Wow, I am absolutely amazed. Next up is Dan's car. Let's see his sector times right here. First sector was a 26.9, half a second down on Khalifa. Second sector, pretty much spot on with Khalifa there. Lost about 3/100th of a second, so really pretty much same pace. So really first sector, lost half a second. This could be good enough for P3 if there was no mistake in the final sector and he comes across the line. 121.0 exactly there.
Hello.
If it wasn't for their first sector, he would have been up there with Khalifa.
Indeed. Here comes Whiteout, by the way.
Yeah.
A few people tipping him for the win. Obviously, this is his first race back since the race ban, which he actually collected in China last season. Up to the line comes Whiteout. It's good enough for P3.
Yeah, consistently across all sectors, he lost a bit of time. 2/10 in the first one, 1/10 in the second, and 1/10 in the third, and ultimately It ends up being just under 4/10, and P3 for him. So maybe Khalifa does have a slight edge on him, at least in qualifying. We don't know how this is going to end up in the race, obviously.
No.
With Khalifa being on a time trial setup, he might struggle more in the race with tyre wear, as we have Riley now through the fast chicane. They have turns 11 and 12, heading towards turn 13. Slight lock up there on the inside. What do his times say? First sector, lost about 2/10. Second sector lost another 2/10. So 4/10 down on Khalifa. It's challenging for P4 versus Dan's car here. This could get really interesting between those two. Could get really close. And he does beat him by just over 1/10. So really good final sector there from Riley. Didn't lose all too much.
Quick note on Riley, that P4 that he's just delivered, he went P4 in qualifying in Bahrain, which is the highest any Dutch driver has ever qualified in JACKOCAR.
Oh, wow.
You know, coming at you with the stats. Here comes Jordan.
Yeah. Jordan coming across the line. Clock's ticking down. 1:21.182. P6 indeed. We're now moving on to Chris.
Which is ILRT Cloud. Sorry, you won't know that.
Yeah, in the number 13 car. Not always a good luck number, but we'll see what he can do with it. Purple in the first sector. Again, it glitches out a bit. It's certainly not purple in the first sector. He is almost a second down already. So this would, right now, I mean, this would put him solidly into P8 ahead of Jess. Second sector, yeah, only lost half a second. So Jess's mistake in the final sector, if Cloud does replicate that, it might get close. But in any other situation, this should be Cloud in P8. Unless he completely spins out or somehow finds a whole lot of speed, a whole lot of pace there. As we have a yellow flag there. What was that for? And indeed it is P8.
P8 for Chris. Up next is Camo Babo, who last week became the 10th driver to surpass 100 points in JACKOCAR. Regular season points, that is.
Alright, so part of an elite club right there.
Yep.
Camo Babo.
1 of 10.
Yep. I mean, there isn't that many. First sector down half a second. Second sector 2/10. This could get interesting though with Jordan, with Okiki, with well, Cloud not so much probably unless he makes a mistake. But this is somewhere in the P5 to P7 region. Could be P8 at worst. What is it going to be? Comes across the line, and it is P8. It is the worst case scenario for Camo Babo. And I mean, mostly he really lost it in the middle sector there, with a 22.1. Everyone ahead of him, and even Okiki and everyone ahead of him. Yeah, everyone ahead of him with a better time, except for Jordan. Jordan was slightly worse in the middle sector, but pulled it out everywhere else.
Just looking at Bazahay, he's got wing damage.
Wow, where did he get that from?
Well,
yeah, massive damage. Right side wing is, I mean, it's almost completely gone. Must have been on the outlap because he didn't lose that. Like, it didn't look like he spun in any of the sectors. Lost about 2 seconds in the first, 1 second in the second, and comes across the line 4/10 behind Jess in P11. And lost another 2.5 seconds in the last sector. That's what the wing damage will do to you. So, roughly almost 5 seconds. Almost 6 seconds actually. My bad. Almost 6 seconds the difference between having a front wing that's intact and a front wing that looks like this one.
Because of that invalidation from ST, Bazo will not start last. Yuri comes up to the fast chicane.
Did not
committed.
Yeah, I did not get that all too well. And let's see. Oh, I have to scroll here on my Taz. Yeah, first sector already 2 seconds. Now, does he have wing damage as well? No. Oh yeah, he does.
Yeah,
left side end plate, but only the left side end plate. Only the left side end plate. It's not that much. It's not as much as we saw with Baza, but certainly it is damage. Ooh, he almost spins. Well held, I have to say. It cost him a lot of time, and he will be P12 after this, but well held. I mean, that's the one thing you gotta give to him there, as we now await MK Born, and he has invalidated, so he will start at the back of the grid as well. So it is not just... Oh man, it's not just Estimats, it's MK Born as well. Those are... Yeah. I mean, at this point... I mean, you gotta say, it's pretty much JACKOCAR royalty, isn't it?
I'm sure, yeah, he is. John's just gone off, sorry, Austin. He's gonna hit the wall. No, he's not.
Oof.
MK Born, by the way, he went pole here last year. He took the inaugural pole in the league. Yeah. John has also validated. In fact, a little note on John. He's just 1 point down on his tally from last season at this same point in the season. So he's having a fairly good run. Top 10 finishes. Or a top 10 and at 11th place, I should say. But in his third race last season, he obviously got that podium in Singapore. Very popular podium.
Meanwhile, Paul McGuinness also invalidated his lap, so we've got a couple. Now they're dropping like flies. Early on, we got a lot of people coming through. Now they're just dropping like flies. Dexter now starting his lap. Maybe we can get one that actually from start to finish, one full lap apart from the one that we got from Khalifa at the very start of the session. Dexter in his black and gold livery, ILRT colors for the ILRT driver. And I gotta say, I think he chose a fantastic livery. That's the livery that's the livery I started out with on my offline my team mode. I think it's a really good looking livery.
Yeah. Although I will say I think it's more of a dark matte green rather than it is a black. Just to call you out.
Look, I'm old. My eyes aren't the best.
Okay. Yeah,
I do wear glasses, so maybe that's why.
They're not working.
That is true. That is true. Maybe I need some new ones, but hard to get at the times right now. Back to the action. Dexter, first sector half a second, second sector about 3/10. That's 8/10. That could be around Camobabo's time in the end. Yeah, it's probably going to be close to Camobabo. Maybe Okiki, if he gets a good final sector, probably closer to Camobabo. Yeah, 2.5 tenths behind Camobabo, actually. So, last sector really not gone to plan for Dexter here. And
Dexter, not the strongest qualifier, he'll tell you. But I think he'd take a P9, to be honest. But his Jamie or Splinter... A little note on him, he has the record for most top 10 finishes in a row. In fact, that record is 10 races in a row in the top 10 for this man, and also the second highest point scoring driver of all time.
Who's the one ahead of him?
Khalifa.
Of course it is.
Of course it is, by about 10 points actually.
Wow. Here comes Splinter. Can he challenge for pole position? No, he cannot. It is P3, but it's mighty close up there. As J. Luke, by the way, has invalidated indeed. And that leaves just one driver really to watch for us, and that is Arnaud. And yeah, he's not using the full width of the track there. You can see that he did not even touch the yellow line on the exit of turn 4. Did so on the exit of turn 5, 26.6. That is only a 10th down. We've seen him having some speed, and he shows that once again here. Only a 10th and a bit down on Khalifa. Right now, this was the third best first sector of all drivers. Only Khalifa and Speed were better. Even Splinter had a slightly worse first sector. Second sector goes actually purple.
Oh, he's crashing.
Oh my goodness, that is a massive crash. He was on such a good run. And that's how it ends.
Austin, we've got some big names at the back of the grid.
We really do. I mean,
we have some huge names at the back.
We've got huge names at the front. Khalifa, Speed Knight, and Splinter Whiteout Riley, the top 5. And we've got Danskar, Jordan, Okiki, Camobabo, Dexter, Cloud, Jess, Baza, Yuri, Those are the top 14. Those are the ones who've set some lap times. Then we've got Mr. John, MK Bourne, Arno, AC Mads, J. Luke, and Paul McGuinness.
Those bottom 5, that's an incredible...
that could be a top 5 in any other race.
Easy. What a bunch of drivers to have at the back, eh?
Yeah, that is incredible. That should make for a very interesting race.
Yeah, and quick note as well on Jamie. I know he invalidated, so we skipped to Arnold straight away, but Jamie, by the way, is the highest point scoring driver of an English nationality in their opening 4 JACKOCAR races.
That is a... I mean, you dug deep for nuggets to find that stat.
Oh, I had to go all the way back. And also Arnold, apart from this race and Bahrain, he has qualified in the top 6 in 17 out of the 19 races. That's a better record than anybody else.
Wow.
I did well on my stats this week, I like to think.
Very well, I have to say. That is amazing. But yeah, I mean, Arno is second in the championship, and now he's going to start from the back. I think P16, whatever it was his where he was ultimately placed. Certainly in the bottom 5 after that crash. But yeah, that's going to be a tricky one for him to salvage. Meanwhile, Khalifa, who as a part-time driver is still 5th in the championship, got second place. Got second place in his home race in Bahrain, and wasn't called upon in Azerbaijan. So, you know, I mean, in one race, he put himself into the top 5, and he's still there.
I don't want to say this, but last season, the top 10 or the 10th driver got 72 points in the regular season. That was enough to qualify. Dare I say it, Khalifa could be very, very close to that if he keeps up this record of racing once every other race.
Yeah, if he does 5 races, if he does 5 races and scores second every time, that's enough. That's 75 points. Yes. That would be over that.
That would be enough to qualify for the playoffs. So, Khalifa
we should say by last year's standards.
Yeah.
It could obviously change. It could be that this season 76 will be enough and 75 won't. But by last year's standards, if he just races 5 times, finishes second every time, hell, he could even have the odd win in there. I mean, he's starting on pole position. I wouldn't be surprised if he ends up winning this race. So he'd be on 35.
I'll tell you what, though, Pete is not happy with what happened in qualifying. And he's also had a shocking start in the first 2 rounds of the season. So he needs and wants the win more than what it means to Khalifa. So eyes on him.
It's very surprising to see a name like Pete Knighton ending up in 22nd in the standings with just 3 points. That's not what we're used to from him. Not at all. I mean, can you have a worse start to a season as the reigning defending champion? Is that even possible?
It's awful, isn't it? And then, of course, moving on, you've got Whiteout in P4. A few people have tipped him as one of the favourites for the race win today, so could he get in on the act and, you know, nick a win off of Pete, possibly?
Yeah, I mean, there are certainly a couple of drivers that Speed Knighton has been disqualified. I think he touched someone else.
Yeah, his car was lagging a little bit there on the start, so not what he needs.
Yeah, thankfully, the good news here is you can't get any damage on the formation lap, so at least his car will not be damaged.
I apologize.
All right.
Sorry.
It's all right. It happens. But so yeah, no damage for Pete Knighton here. That's the good news. The bad news is his tires might be fairly cold at the start of this race. And I mean, look at the sky. You want warm tires in turn 1.
Absolutely.
As
we just await the
last one
from the game.
Nah, we're waiting for Paul McGuinness still. Yep. There we go.
Championship favourite, by the way, Paul McGuinness. Just he can't find any rhythm either.
Yeah, and interesting things on the tires here as well. Everyone's on the softs except are no. The only one on the mediums as we get ready, and we are under. Oh no, there's a jump start. I think a couple jump starts. AC Matt's got one. Oh my goodness. AC Matt's got one. And everything, the game is confused right now. The pit stop strategy shows up. Lap 9 to 12 onto the hards. 2-stop might be possible. Soft, medium. But everything's going wild. Left, right, and center. Everything's crazy. I think Khalifa is leading, even though it shows him in P16, but he is in fact leading. That should be rectified once they all make it across the first sector split. And I think, they haven't done yet. We still need Jess, Kamababo, and Jordan to come through. And something happened to Kamababo and Jordan, I think. Jordan is still in...
spun in turn 2.
Yeah, and we have a yellow flag in sector 1 too. That is for Jordan, I think. He is in 20th now, as all the timings have gotten rectified now. And Khalifa and Speed Knight...
right rear tyre puncher, by the way. That's why he's last.
Oh, wow. On lap 1.
On lap 1.
That is very interesting. Did someone else run into him? That's the only explanation I have. Someone else with their front wing sliced open his right rear. That's the only way this is explainable.
Looking at Taz, Jordan had some form of contact with either Baz or
Whiteout's in the pits. Whiteout is in the pits at the end of lap 1. Does he have damage? No, he doesn't have damage. Why is he pitting lap 1? What is this about? Oh, he was one of the drive-through. He was one of the jump starters.
Oh.
Him and AC Mats were the jump starters. That it is a drive-through for him.
Ruined his race because he's one of the Joker drivers as well. You won't believe it.
Oh
The
wow!
other one is Dan's car.
Well, he's doing well right now in P7, I have to say. That certainly... I mean, he did lose still one position despite all that kerfuffle, all this craziness.
Look at this. Jordan's still going round limping on that rear tyre.
Yeah. Thankfully, the top 2 and everyone else are a little bit further apart, though. He's in the wall. Oh, get this going. This is going to be tricky. Almost got beached in the gravel trap there.
Yeah.
The leaders are coming now. They are getting closer. It is obviously very tricky. It's a bit easier if you have a front puncture, as we've seen in Silverstone. Oh, he's spun. He's in the... Oh my god, he's on the apex there. And now we have Khalifa and Speed Knight coming through and the rest of the field. Oh my goodness. Get out of the way, please,
wait
Jordan.
For everybody to go through.
Yeah. At this point... Yeah, he's going to have to wait for everyone. There's more coming still. Now, nope, there's another one. And another one. Jess coming through. Whiteout coming through. And Estimats is a little bit further away. And he comes across the
unbelievable
entry
Jordan.
There. Yeah, that is just... It's just heartbreaking to watch. He's still struggling. He wants to make as much pace as possible there, but... His car now very slow in the pit lane as well. Doesn't accelerate properly. Again, we've seen in the real life British Grand Prix, it's easier with a front puncture. With a rear puncture, those are the tires that, they're the ones that get moving. That's where the power gets transferred onto the track. And if those start spinning out, and if those don't go anywhere, you don't go anywhere.
Absolutely.
Meanwhile, we have Khalifa and Speed Knight and pulling away from the rest of the grid. We have Riley, Splinter, Okiki, Dexter there. 3, 4, 5, 6. The gap for Dan's car shows 1 lap. He is not 1 lap down. Just as a quick information for the viewers. We have a little bit of a glitch here. This should be fixed as soon as Khalifa comes across the line, and then everyone else subsequently. 1.3 seconds the gap now between Khalifa and Knighton. And then 6.6 seconds between Khalifa and Riley. And here comes Splinter on Riley. Oh, and he gets him into turn 1. What a maneuver there from ILRT Splinter. Riley tries to get him back, but Splinter has the DRS for both straights. You got to remember this here. 3 DRS zones, but only 2 detection points. The detection point for the start...
Riley.
Yeah. Riley with a massive squirm there. The DRS detection point for both the start-finish straight DRS zone and out of turn 2 and into turn 3 is basically just before the what is that, turn 14, I think. Need to get my track map open. So. Totally forgot about that in all this drama right here. Let me get the track map open. It's hard to remember the core. I wish they had names. I wish every track had corner names, but unfortunately it's not always the case. And so sometimes we have to make, or often unfortunately, we have to make do with numbers. But yeah, we see Splinter now pulling away from Riley after that mistake that Riley had there.
It was a good move from Splinter. Of course, you speak to him, he'll tell you he's no better than maybe 8th fastest in this league. But what he has over the others, and I touched on it in qualifying with that stat about most top 10s, is he's got consistency. So he may not be very fast, but he keeps putting himself in these positions. Riley gets a penalty, by the way.
Yeah,
where he can just get points.
And Cloud is out. Cloud is out. Oh, that's on the main straight. That's on the main straight. That's thankfully off the racing line. But yeah, that definitely warrants a virtual safety car. So all the drivers have to stick to a delta. For those of you who don't know how the virtual safety car works at this point, if you are an F1 fan, you probably know. But for those of you that don't, every driver has to slow down, has to stick to a delta time, and is not allowed to go faster. Otherwise, they will get a penalty. And that penalty, just like for the jump starts that we saw, will be a drive-through. And as I say that, Jess gets a drive-through penalty for speeding under the virtual safety car. And again, I don't think she was the only one. I wish we could see... Can we see this somewhere? Overtakes, pit stop, weather, damage. No, we can't see that, unfortunately. But Jess definitely got a penalty there. Maybe someone else as well. A drive-through.
Come up, wasn't it? Was Jess's. But Cloud there with that retirement, he had an 8th place finish in Bahrain and then crashed out on lap 1 in Azerbaijan last week. So not
we have yellow flag sector 3.
Car off, it's Yuri.
Yeah.
The exit the fast chicane.
His tire's off. It looked like his tire was off, but
front left puncher.
Yeah.
Lewis Hamilton-esque.
Yeah. Oh, he can't turn. He can't turn. Paul McGinnis going into the pit lane. Dan's car going into the pit lane. I think those are scheduled pit stops. We have to mention probably, we have stage points here on offer on lap 7 and lap 13. So we are at lap 6 now. It's getting close here. Oh, Cabo Barber's trying to get past Yuri here. And he does. Can Yuri even make it into the pit lane? Yes, he can.
I just watched Esti Matt sweep around the inside of turn 1 as Paul McGuinness was coming out. There was almost contact.
Oh, wow.
But they got away with it. I don't think Paul will be too happy.
I mean, is a racing driver ever happy when they get overtaken? Probably not. Esti! Oh, he's really cutting it thin there. I mean, he could have easily spun there, went way too wide. And now Paul going for this one.
Fresh tyres.
Yeah, and round the outside Paul goes and gets the position. Well done. That's not really... Oh, Esti I think spun. Yeah, Esti spun. Does he have a puncture as well? No. It looked like it for a split second, but again, I think it's just my eyesight.
Got wing damage out of it, I can tell you that much, Austin.
Yeah, he definitely does. Let's see how much.
End plate. It's end plate.
Yeah.
There's second position Pete Pitts. Did pick up a 3-second penalty on that lap as well.
Yeah, he is struggling. Speed Knight, meanwhile, in the pit lane. Coming back out right behind Baza in P9. So we are in lap 7 now. At the end of this lap, stage points right here. And it seems like Khalifa is going to be the one to take them.
He's going to take him away from the full-time drivers as well.
Yeah.
He took the pole lap. He's going to get stage 1.
Oh, he still has to make it there. Let's not.
Yeah, that's true.
The track is quite tricky. We've seen it in qualifying, and we've seen it in the race so far already. It's only 7 laps in. That's not even 30% of the race done. And we've seen some absolute craziness. It's 25% pretty much. That's why this is the end of stage 1 that Khalifa now finishes as he comes through the final corner and takes the stage 1 victory and gets himself that point. But obviously,
the next one at the end of lap 13.
Yeah, next one, end of lap 13, as Splinter now goes in for his pit stop. Onto mediums he goes. This might be a 2-stop for him. I'm not sure. I'm pretty sure that's a 2-stop. The medium tires.
2-stop.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Of course.
Just like one hub.
Yeah. Yeah. So the pit information that you saw at the start of the race, soft to hard. Yeah, that's not going to work. Not allowed to do that. I mean, it works, but you're not allowed to do it.
Yeah, just not here.
Yeah. I mean, if you try a 50% my team race or do it in any other league where they don't have a mandatory 2-stop, yeah, totally. Soft to hard might be the way to go. But here, soft medium is probably going to be the strategy for everyone involved. And speaking of the strategy for everyone involved, remember how I said at the start that there was one driver who wasn't on the softs? Everyone else started on the soft tire. Well, the one who did start on the mediums, he did start all the way down in, I think P16 it was? P17 it was. He's now up to P5. Arnaud having a really good, solid race as Khalifa now comes in for his pit stop. And I wonder where he comes out. Probably in between J-Luke and Arnaud.
Yep. Of course, Arnaud coming into this with no practice. He's been away all week, hasn't had a chance to get onto the game yet. So hopefully he can do something, recover from that awful crash in qualifying, and go again.
Everyone coming in except for MK Born.
Yep.
So 2 of the drivers who started all the way back, well, yeah, 2 of the drivers who started all the way back are now in the top 3. MK Born and Arnaud both messed up their qualifying laps. Had to start from the back of the grid. MK Born from 16th, Arnaud from 17th. So they were the 2 front runners of that whole group there in the back. And
of course, we are expecting the guys at the back to come through to the front because of basically who was down there at the start of the race. It was crazy, wasn't it?
Yeah. I mean, you would expect them to move up the order, and at least MK Bon and Arnaud did. Not all of them shared the same fate. Estimat's still down in P17. Paul McGuinness in 11, and J-Luke in P8 are the other drivers from that bottom group there who messed up their qualifying laps. So it's been very diverse for these 5 drivers moving up and down the field as Speed Knighton goes around the outside there of Arnaud. That's what you can do with fresher tires. What a move, I gotta say. MK Bone coming in, one of the last runners on the soft tires. Arnaud also comes in now. That is early for the mediums. Is he going for a medium soft strategy? And he gets a
penalty on the
5 seconds. He's going to have to serve that at his second pit stop then. And indeed, it is medium to medium for him. So, yeah, the Belgian. And I think he got a new front wing as well.
Interesting. I don't know where he picked up that damage, if there was any.
Yeah, it looks... I think he did have a front wing... yeah, he did have...
Lap 9, Arnold has changed his wing, according to Taz.
Yeah. So, that costs him another... just about 5 seconds. And he's going to have to lose another 5 seconds at the next pit stop for speeding in the pit lane. Let's hope he doesn't do it again next time, because then he's going to get another 5 seconds that he then doesn't have to serve, thankfully, but they will add it at the end of they will be added at the end of his race.
And of course, if you speed into the pit lane, that's 5 seconds that you can't get removed. Obviously, if it's one of those silly 5 second penalties that you get underneath or behind a safety car, we do remove those now.
Yeah, we didn't have a safety car yet, so far at least. But we also still have 19 drivers in this race, so plenty of time and plenty of opportunity to maybe still get a safety car. The walls are close here. They're not the closest. Oh, Khalifa tries to get past Jess, I think. lapping her as Jess came out of the pit lane after her pit stop, and it got really close there. Khalifa forcing the issue instead of maybe waiting behind. He wants to get away from Pete Knighton, I think. He just wants to make sure that guy behind him, Pete Knighton, does not see Khalifa's front wing whatsoever. We have a yellow flag in sector 3. I think that is for
Jordan getting out of the way, I think.
Yeah, that could be the
cars lapping him.
Yeah, seems like that's the case.
Yeah.
Khalifa,
but Pete actually lost time. He pitted before Khalifa, and he's lost about 2 or 3 seconds. And then Khalifa lost half a second behind Jess, but now Pete has to go through that pain as well.
I want to see if maybe Pete changed his front wing as well. No, he did not.
Jess gets out of the way this time for Pete.
Yeah. Did maybe Pete had a 5-second penalty that he served? Because otherwise I can't really explain.
Behind her, hadn't he? Must have just been a very, very slow stop, or he had a mistake somewhere.
That could be the case, yeah. That
Maybe,
could be the
away
case.
From the pit lane, yeah.
Because otherwise I can't really explain it, to be honest. How he exactly lost that time. Paul McGuinness, meanwhile, is losing himself some time in terms of penalties. Got himself a 3-second, and so does Yuri in P17, who will probably be the next one to be lapped by Khalifa. The gap from Khalifa to Yuri, 1:07 right now in speed. What is Pete Knighton doing there? Dipped 2 wheels on the grass on the entry of turn 4. And just started sliding, obviously, but started sliding around massively. That's a mistake you don't see very often, as we have a yellow flag in sector 3.
Someone's hit the pit lane.
Yeah.
It's Bazza.
It is, yeah.
No damage, but he must have spun on the exit to the final turn there.
Yeah, I'm surprised to see no damage there, because that final corner, if you spin there most of the time, that's it. It's done. At that point, you can't really salvage much. And really hard to regain control of the car and make sure. So, Bazza having another huge moment there on the exit of turn 3. So, really, really struggling here for grip and for everything now. And Pete Knight, you see this, the gap was 5 seconds. It's now gone up to 7 seconds. So, Khalifa really with an absolutely amazing performance, making no mistakes whatsoever, and everyone behind him, including the reigning defending JACKOCAR champion, Pete Knighton, making mistakes.
And he lost that time after he lapped Jess as well, so it's his own doing.
Yeah, it was, I think in part
it was here, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was right there, turn 4, dipping 2 wheels on the grass, starting to slide, losing probably not the whole 2 seconds, but in that one corner at least. But yeah, I mean, if you make yourself some dirty tires and overheat them by sliding, I mean, ultimately you are going to lose yourself some more time in the subsequent corners. As we are, by the way, now, I just realized that in lap 13.
Yep.
That means that stage 2 is drawing to an end. It's getting closer now. We have a yellow flag there. That is for, I think, Jess getting out of the way.
Yeah,
yep.
Getting lapped again.
Yep. Jess slowing down, letting someone else by. And Khalifa comes across the line to not only take stage 1, but also stage 2. Will it be the triple that he gets here by getting the race victory as well? It's looking good for him right now, 7.8 seconds. But
playing the third of 9 playoff points available today. It's going to be one of those dominant races, potentially.
Yeah. That is just remarkable to watch, I gotta say. The gap to Pete Knighton now over 8 seconds, so he's losing more and more time. I wouldn't be surprised. Let me quickly see something. We don't get the tire wear data from Pete Knighton, unfortunately.
Austin, I think now is a good time to mention that on my ILR Jacko account earlier, I said that if Pete Knighton gets a podium this evening, I will buy everybody who's watching the stream a beer, provided they are over the age of 18. So if you are currently in the chat, please do what ILR team Matt has done. type beer, and you will receive a beer at the
Hold
end
on.
of the race.
Give me 1 second. I am technically watching the stream. I think that counts, but at the same time, I don't drink any beer anyway, so
Same.
yeah, so not much of a point there in me entering. But yeah, you did say that on Twitter.
Yeah.
And right
Man of my
now,
word.
looks like you have to pay up. Although it seems Pete Knight is losing so much time. I mean, he lost on the last lap. He lost another 7/10 to Khalifa. We know how good Khalifa is, but still, we also know how good Pete Knighton is. 7/10 difference between the two isn't exactly what we're used to. It's not usually what we see between those two.
No, they're normally a bit closer. Definitely. News in from Cloud, who crashed out earlier in the race, just simply lost a car on the exit of that final turn, and that's what brought out that VSC. As Riley picks up another 3-second penalty.
Yeah, penalty will play a huge role in this race. The whole result may be completely shaky. Maybe not the whole race. I mean, Khalifa at this point, he could afford 3 penalties and still win. 9.5 seconds now. But at the same time,
I think Splinter's going to be P2.
Yeah, could very well happen. We still have to wait for the second pit stops for most drivers. In fact, yeah, most drivers. Okiki and Paul McGuinness have already done their second pit stop, and Yuri as well. At least they don't have to do any more mandatory pit stops. It might be that they're not on a suitable compound that will make it to the end, but they don't have to come into the pits anymore unless they so choose. And looking at Okiki, he's on the mediums, 3 laps old. I hope that's true. I hope the graphic doesn't lie to us again, because it does have some glitches. But if those mediums are 3 laps old, I reckon he might just make it. The mediums around here do last around 17 laps. 18 if you want to stretch them out. So that would fit perfectly for Okiki.
You may or may not remember Okeke. He won this race last year.
Yeah. And he
As
got
he
himself...
just picks up a penalty.
Yeah, he knew we were talking about him, I think.
Yeah.
The other two who are on 2 pit stops already, Yuri and Paul McGuinness. Paul McGuinness is on the hard, so he definitely will make it to the end. And Yuri is on the mediums, but 1 lap old, allegedly. Although I didn't see him come into the pit last lap, as Isti Mats now comes in. If Yuri did come in last lap, then he would easily make it to the end as well.
Yeah, I was just looking at penalties a few seconds ago, Austin. Obviously, Pete has his 3 seconds. Jamie Splinter, he's got the 2 warnings, and J-Luke behind him has about 500,000 warnings and a penalty. Jamie is on for the podium, but if he gets a little bit more time on Pete, he'll be P2. Matt's come out of the pit.
Yeah, and J-Luke just came into the pits, so Jamie W, not Jamie B, just came into the pits for his second pit stop onto mediums again. That is perfect timing as well. At the end of lap 16, 13 laps to go. The mediums can definitely do that, and he'll use them to their best abilities at that point. Using them any shorter really loses you some time, as he comes out right behind Arnaud. Okay, that's unfortunate, but he did get the DRS off of Splinter, and he still has that. Because he was behind at the detection point within 1 second, he still gets that here on the second straight.
Yep, and of course well placed now if a safety car comes out.
Definitely, yeah.
With that early stop, those mediums, as you say, will go to the end.
Yeah, but at the same time, if the safety car comes out now, probably not played so well, as Arnaud makes a mistake and it really just waves Luke by. Or Jamie, I should say, but it's J. Luke. So, sorry if I do call you Luke, if you're watching afterwards or listening right now. Sorry.
He's been called worse, I can assure you that.
Oh, wow, okay. Wow. But, yeah. Makes up a position here as Arnaud made a mistake and then just decided, not much of a point in fighting this. In fact, Arnaud does get the DRS off of J-Luke here, so that certainly helps him a little bit in salvaging some time.
Arnold having a poor race by his standards. He's been top 5 in the last 2. Of course, was second in China as well. That's 3 in a row. He's been top 5.
It really all started in qualifying for him, didn't it? I mean, he was on pace to get pole position after 2 sectors, and then in that fast sweeping chicane, it all unraveled. He hit the wall, massive crash, start from the back. And, well, here he is. 18 laps or 17 laps into the race. Still has a pit stop left. The guy in front of him, J-Luke, does not. And maybe he can do a little bit of damage limitation at the end. I would assume that Arnaud goes back onto soft tires towards the end of the race. His mediums, of all the drivers in the top 8 that have had only 1 pit stop, meaning everyone in the top 8 barring J-Luke, his tires are the freshest, together with MK Bourne, the 2 drivers who started from the back. So, probably going to be some... I mean, it's definitely going to be softs for Arnaud. He went medium so far.
Yeah, he's
so he has to be onto softs. Question is when he comes in. I would expect around lap 20, because those soft tires, as much as they only last around 12 laps... And that's, you're getting towards puncture territory in lap 13. And you really only want to use them around 9, maybe 10 laps. That's what they're good for. And lap 20 would do exactly that. Would give him 9 laps. Right at the end. Low fuel. Soft tires. Maybe, get a little bit of a charge going.
Maybe. Quiet race for Riley at the moment. P4 going well. Hasn't done much.
Pretty uneventful for him so far. I mean, we haven't seen him much. Yeah. He had this one slide, but apart from that, it's really been uneventful for him, which isn't always a bad thing. I can tell you from experience, and I think you know as well, and everyone who's ever league raced in any racing series knows that an uneventful race in terms of, not really interesting for us as commentators isn't always a bad race, P4, certainly a good result for him right now, and does certainly help. I mean, he's only had 6 points so far for the Smooth Operators team, for Thomas's team, and, getting some more on the board.
He had to miss last week's race in Azerbaijan, but as you say, points are more important and more so than ever in this league, where the playoffs is the level you want to be at. You've got to consistently score high, score well, or you're very much hoping for a win, and if Riley's in that sort of category where he may not be able to get a win this season, he needs to have performances like this. So a quiet race is a good race, and it will kickstart his season after a poor start in Bahrain and a no-show in Azerbaijan. He'll be happy with this.
Yeah, certainly. He has to still get it to the line, though. There's still some laps left, 10 laps, 9.5, really.
He's starting to close in on Splinter as well.
Yeah, he is. Gap 2.7 seconds between the two of them. Now 2.6. It's getting down a little bit. Oh, no, 2.7.
Of course, Riley has 4 penalties.
Yeah, and Khalifa comes into the pits now. Khalifa into the pits. Trying to undercut Pete Knighton, maybe. Is Pete going to follow? Yep, Pete responds. Pete responds. Splinter stays out. Might assume the lead here, if only for a couple corners. We'll see where Khalifa comes out. He's right there. I think Splinter is going to make... Yep, Splinter is in the lead. It will be more than just a couple of corners. Riley also stays out. So, Splinter and Riley, 1-2. Then we've got Khalifa. MK Bourne still has to make another pit stop. Let's show the pit stops. It's probably better at this point. And, yeah, so Khalifa's still in the net lead. Pete Knighton still in P2 as he comes out ahead. And that is crucial. He's got 11 seconds of free space in front of him. But he's got a couple cars behind him that he is now faster than on the soft tires. And at the end of the race with a light car with fresh softs. Should be able to pull away from them. And yeah, he does pretty much early on. Gap already 1.7 seconds to Dexter. As Dexter and J-Luke are fighting here over P6. However, J-Luke already did his 2 pit stops, so he doesn't have to go in any further. Dexter still does, and so J-Luke wants to get past here, wants to force the issue into turn 8. Turn 9. My apologies. But wasn't really there. It wasn't really on. Now it is. Gets the better run here. And into the fast chicane. Turns 11 and 12. And it seems like Dexter caught a huge blow of dirty air right there. Really cost him there in the chicane. He did get the DRS off of Dexter. Splinter is now in. Riley will take the lead. Splinter onto softs he goes. And he will come out behind Pete Knighton for sure. Oh, this is going to be close with Luke. We're going to go on board with Luke. We might see Splinter on the right side. That's where the pit exit is. And he is behind. He's behind. We can see it now. Right behind there is Splinter. That's about 2.6, 2.7 seconds. So Splinter losing a whole bunch of time from his pit stop, but on better tires now. So this isn't the last thing we've seen from these two, I think. Luke,
don't forget about the penalties that J-Luke has as well.
That is very much true, but at the same time...
Which is only 3 seconds saying that. He hasn't gained any more since I last updated you.
Yeah, but at the same time, only 3 seconds. It does matter, but also, I think Splinter, at this point at least, doesn't care. He's looking further ahead, maybe to Pete Knighton. If he can, although probably not. Maybe MK Bourne still has to pit. I think Splinter at this point is probably worried about Riley. Riley still has to pit, but he's also 18.5 seconds ahead. Will probably end up behind. But I mean, this is going to get interesting. Riley now coming in, as Khalifa also sets the fastest lap. Jess is out. That is turn 1. That is a full safety car. That is a full safety car. Now the question becomes, J-Luke is in, MK Bourne is in, Riley is in again, but that makes no sense. Riley,
Splinter. Look at Splinter.
Oh no, Riley, yeah.
He's got Riley.
Yep, Splinter has got Riley, but just about. That was expected. Riley did go in before. My apologies, messed that up a little bit. Riley did go in before the safety car came out. But MK Bourne, J-Luke, Dan's car is reacting. Okiki is reacting. All the drivers on mediums or hards should be reacting now. Go on to soft. Camo Babo does. Paul McGuinness is probably going to come through and jump in for softs. And Istimats, yep, there you go. And Istimats probably as well. Baza, I think, will stay out. He just pitted onto softs. Istimats should, and Jordan obviously is probably going to come in as well. Although Jordan is very, very far away from there, as he is now
Jordan's
heading.
Also a lap down, isn't he?
He's 2 laps down actually on Khalifa.
Oh, is he? Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
He's 1 lap down on everyone at this point, and 2 laps on Khalifa.
Such a shame.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was the puncture in lap 1 that really cost him there.
Yeah, a lap before the end of the first lap. And of course Khalifa's been flying ever since, but this will certainly close it up. Give us a nice little sprint race at the end. Pete, with his 3-second penalty, he's going to have to do something very, very clever to get the better of Khalifa.
Not just him. I mean, Riley has 12 seconds worth of penalties.
Yeah.
Riley was not hoping for this at all.
MK Bourne has no penalties, by the way, so himself, Jamie and Khalifa are looking good for the podium.
Yeah. But
and of course, everybody in the YouTube chat is now worried that they're not going to get a free beer out of us.
Yeah, this might get tricky. It depends on when the safety car comes in. The more laps are left, the better the chance for Pete Knighton to actually pull a gap on the guys behind, like Splinter. Riley is not his worry, but MK Bourne certainly is. That's the gap we have to monitor between Speed Knighton and MK Bourne. That's the one we have to watch out for. If that's over 3 seconds, then Knighton is good here. If not, MK Ball might just snatch a podium. We should get the notification of the safety car coming in, by the way, before the fast chicane usually. So we didn't get it this time, so the safety car is probably going to stay out one more lap at least.
Cars are spread over half the track or two-thirds of the track at the moment.
I mean, they're spread over almost the whole track. I see cars in turn 3. And we're heading towards the final couple of corners, so I wonder how long the safety car is willing to wait. I reckon lap 25, they're going to restart this one. Either way, whether everyone's caught up or not, they won't care. I mean, you got to get this back underway. The wreck has been removed, so at this point, as John comes into the pits, he's in P15 right now. He's already a lap down on Khalifa. Will be lapped by most cars now at this point, and won't lose another position. P16 lost the position to Istimats, but yeah, will not lose another position to Yuri, as he now makes his way out of the pit lane, and there he goes.
So Austin, lap 25, restart we expect at the end of the lap. Who are you going for the win?
I mean, have you watched the race? It's got to be Khalifa. Come on, there is no debate at that point, unless, I don't know, there has to be something outrageous, like Pete Knighton taking out Khalifa, just out of, I don't know, he's bored or something. I don't know. Unless that unthinkable happens, Khalifa's gonna walk away with this one. If Khalifa doesn't win, I'm gonna buy everyone a beer.
Oh.
Yeah.
Make sure everybody clips that.
Yeah, go ahead. That's all right.
If Khalifa doesn't win, Austin will buy everybody a beer.
I hope Khalifa doesn't listen, and you know, I hope this win matters more to him than getting beer. You know, I hope it does, because he might influence this one. But did we get the safety car in this lap? Did we get that message?
I didn't see it, and the lights are still on.
Sometimes it does come later, but it doesn't seem like we will get. So lap 26 then. Well, that
everybody's caught up now.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah. It's too. No, oh, there you go. Very late, very late. Oh, and look at the field here. That's not single file, guys. That's really not single file.
There's not a lot they could have done though. That was very
true. True, but I hope they do spread out in some capacity and make it single file, as Khalifa does restart it rather late, so he's and someone spun!
Riley spun!
Riley! Oh no, oh, and he's getting collected there. Dexter's out. Oh my god, that's a massive crash. That's an enormous crash, and Riley somehow, 2 cars are out, Dexter and Matt, but Riley somehow still goes. I mean, his front wing is absolutely toast on the left side, but how is he not out of this one? What a massive crash.
Did he get spun by MK Bourne, or did he just lose it? Power down?
He did certainly spin. I could not tell you whether he did get spun or whether he spun on his own. I did catch it on stream, so I might have to watch that back. It was very far away, though. The camera wasn't exactly close.
Yeah.
But I could not really tell from that far away. Maybe if I watch it back. Riley, yeah, now he's out. Oh my god. What a crash. What a disaster there. Alright, I think I found it. No, MK Bourne was so far away from this whole situation. Yeah, he just spun on his own. He actually just spun on his own.
Okay.
Wow. I think he went a little bit too wide onto the curb, onto the exit curb, and then just turned the car around. 90 degrees, 90 degrees, middle of the track, and that was that basically. Wow. I've never seen something like that. That was frightening. It was crazy. and it caught up 3 drivers who are now retired. Estimats, Dexter, and Riley.
Riley retired later on in the lap. That's why Mr. John's still in a P14.
Yeah,
Obviously been a lap down.
he did, but at the same time he did retire. I think from that, like it wasn't instant.
Wing damage, yeah.
Yeah.
So Mr. John goes 13th
He
now.
said he probably said, you know what, that's not worth it. I'm just gonna check this one off. We'll try again next time.
Meanwhile, Khalifa leads from Pete out front.
Yeah,
Jamie and MK Bourne.
and yeah, the worst thing for Pete Knighton has happened. MK Bourne has 1 car less in front of him with Riley spinning out there, but MK just got himself
a penalty. Oh,
that's the best case scenario for Pete now.
Yeah, that would have been the podium had MK Bourne not got that penalty.
Yeah, and Pete is also only on 4 warnings, so he can afford another one. The 6th warning will give him another 3-second penalty. We'll up it to 6 seconds, so he can actually afford another warning right there, and would still be fine. Khalifa on 2 warnings, so he's gonna have to cut it thin as well and not make too many mistakes. But even then, obviously, you know, he is now pretty much 3 seconds ahead of Splinter, who also is on 2 warnings, by the way. So both of these, as Paul McGuinness is the one who pops up in P9.
Splinter's been on 2 warnings for about 15 laps, to be fair.
I mean, good for him at the same time. I mean, 15 laps consecutively. Okay, some of them won the safety car, but still. That's really good. As Pete Knighton now goes past, I think that was Jordan again. Yep.
Yep. Jordan isn't actually in the game, by the way. That is just his lapped car going round.
Ah, okay.
But his lapped car is going to end at P15, by the way.
Well, it's
his
something.
Disconnected car.
Yeah.
His lapped car.
It's something. Yeah, look at Khalifa just trying to drive away from the rest of the field here. We should get DRS now for the final lap at least. Oh, did we already have DRS? Oh, we may have already had DRS. Yeah, it was the restart. Yeah, the restart was lap 26, and so lap 28 we got the DRS already.
Yeah.
So okay.
By the way, look at Splinter.
Yeah.
Close to the back of Pete.
We're going on board for the final lap here with Splinter. There may be something happening here. MK Bourne is also close behind, but not as close really. Under half a second between Pete Knighton and Splinter. Again, Pete just dipping a wheel onto the grass. Does that every time. He's making it really close, but you know, so far it's worked more than it hasn't. But it is a dangerous game to play. How close can Splinter be? Maybe final DRS zone coming up right here. Oh, Pete not with the best run, but good enough it seems.
I think it was the lag that made him look like he'd lost it for a second.
Yeah, probably. So Splinter not close enough. We switch over to Khalifa, who comes through the final corners. Not only did he take the stage 1 victory, not only did he take pole position, not only did he take the stage 2 victory, he also takes the race victory
as well.
and fastest lap. I mean, he's done it all today. I mean, there isn't a more deserved victory in Speed Knighton. What happened to what has happened? Oh no, okay, P3. Oh. He fell down the order for a couple of moments there, like 5, 6, 7. I think that was him lagging out again. But he ends up in P3, and that means Jacko, pay up.
Yeah, that's a shame, isn't it?
Yeah. And Blue Fox in the chat, they're saying, "I'll take a Corona, thanks, Jacko." And misspelled your name while he's
misspelled my name. I think he's not entitled to a Corona after that.
Yeah, that's questionable for sure. But it is Khalifa winning the race.
Yeah, I was just going to say, for the first time ever in 19 races, a non-full-time driver, or a reserve driver in other words, has won the race, which means nobody advances to the playoffs.
Oh wow, so does that mean we have a spot open for whoever ends up in the standings?
Yeah, it means it's going to come down to points for at least one driver.
Yeah. So we have Kyle, we have Jamie Wright, and we have the points leader of those that don't qualify.
Yeah, the points leader currently, I believe, is Arnold. If it's not Arnold, it's Jamie Bromley.
It was Arno before this race. Considering he finished P5, he probably still is, yeah.
J Luke's up there as well, so
yeah.
Either Splinter, Arnold, or Jamie W will be the points leader after this.
Jamie W finished P6, J Luke. I don't think it's gonna be him. Jamie W already went into the playoffs because he won Bahrain.
Yes, but he may well be points leader, like actual regular season points as well.
Oh, yeah. No, I think it's going to be Arnaud, actually. Oh, it's probably going to be Khalifa, honestly. At this point.
Points?
35? Yeah, he's one ahead of Kyle. No, it's going to be Arnaud, I think. P5 is 11 points. No, 12 points, right?
12 points.
12 points, yeah. Arnaud was at 40. Yeah, it's gonna be Arnaud. Splinter 15 points, right?
Splinter 15 points puts him on
36. Yeah, so it's gonna be Arnaud as the points leader. So right now the players would be Kyle, Jamie Wright, and Arnaud.
Yes.
But
we got there in the end.
At least Arnaud, that can still change. Kyle and Jamie W, they're safe. Nothing can push them out of the playoffs at this point, but you know, the others, yeah, it might get tricky. But that is going to be it for JACKOCAR Round 3 in Season 2. What a race it was, I have to say. I mean, one guy just dominating Lewis Hamilton style. Crashes safety car, virtual safety car. Riley just taking 3 cars out, including himself. And ultimately Khalifa just standing atop everybody else. Hold on. What team did Khalifa drive for today?
Scuderia Lenta, to my knowledge.
So he filled in for Kyle.
Yes, so that's the team which is Mr. John, Paul, and Baza.
Yeah, I mean, you can't have a better driver fill in, can you?
Not really.
If you do replace Kyle, who finished P3 in the first race and won the second race, you better do it with the guy that wins race number 3.
Yeah, great points tally again for Scuderia Lenta.
Yeah,
fantastic.
But yeah, we'll be back next week, probably then again with Owen and you, for what will be the inaugural JACKOCAR Vietnam Grand Prix. What was that sound?
Oh, I'm not going to say anymore. I can't wait. It's going to be carnage.
Yeah. To everyone who's ever driven that track on game, on this game, you know what's coming. You know what's happening. To everyone who hasn't, strap in. This is going to be a wild one. Next week here on the JACKOCAR channel. Make sure to subscribe, hit the like button, all that stuff. You hear that from every YouTuber. Now you hear it from us as well. That being said, thank you very much, Jacko, for having me.
No worries. Thank you for coming.
And thank you very much to everyone for watching. We'll see you next week. Goodbye.
Goodbye.